I see our first one over on the right hand side there. The one that's looking almost at us is called a yellowback duiker. And the word duiker means diver because he will dive right into the bushes to evade predators. Against the fence there, you're going to see an okapi. Now, most people think the okapi is related to the zebra because of their striped hindquarters, but they are the only known relatives to the giraffe. Both the okapi and the giraffe have ossicones, which are those horns on top of their heads, as well as nice long tongues. Over on my left-hand side there, you're going to see a black rhino. Now, the cool thing about black rhinos are that they have V-shaped lips that they will use just like fingers to pick up objects. The horns are made of keratin, which is the same substance our fingernails and hair are made out of. Over on my right-hand side, you're going to see a greater kudu. Well, she looks like a deer. She's not. She's actually an antelope. And she's going to be the second largest antelope here on the reserve, measuring about 5 feet from the shoulder. The rest of our herd is over here, and I keep calling them females because they are. You can tell because they do not have any horns. The greater kudu male's horn can go all the way up to be 6 feet long. Coming up on my left-hand side are my favorite animals. These are called bongos. Bongos are known as the ghosts of the forest because they're able to blend in so well with their environment. Both the male and female bongos have horns, and they will face backwards to help them navigate through the brush more easily. There's a sign on the palm tree up ahead. It reads "Poli Poli." That translates from Swahili to be very slowly. So we have to take this next section, Poli Poli, because we are now entering the Safi River area. Watering holes like these are going to be great places to spot animals. They'll use it as a social gathering ground. And if you look over on my right-hand side, kind of by that V-shaped log in the water, you're going to see a pair of eyeballs. Those belong to a hippo. Hippos will spend the majority of their day in the water, coming out at nighttime to forage for food. There's a whole bloat of hippos over on the left-hand side in the water. A bloat is a group of hippos. They are herbivores, which means they eat plants, but they're very territorial, so you probably wouldn't want to come face-to-face with one.
No. Number one killer.
There's a pod on the island. A pod is a group of pelicans. These are pink-back pelicans. They're only pink during mating season, though. The rest of the time, they're going to be a grayish-looking color. Both the male and female pink-back pelican will take turns resting on those chicks to keep them warm.
Oh, there's a walking tour right above us.
There's a hippo over on my left-hand side trying to keep warm. We are now going to be crossing Croc Bridge. It gets its name because if you look over on the left-hand side, you're going to see the Nile crocodile. The Nile crocodile is the second largest crocodile in the world, and the main source of protein for them will be fish, though they have been known to eat larger animals at least once a year. Coming up on my right-hand side, you're going to see a unique-looking tree. It's called a baobab. It's also known as the upside-down tree because it looks like it's been planted upside down. Those branches will remain leafless for about 9 months of the year to help conserve on water. We are now entering the savannah where Hoosok animals reside. Already I see a tower, which is going to be a group of giraffes. Let me just pull around, find a good spot for y'all to see them. This looks great. Okay, so giraffes are going to be the tallest animals in the world. They can measure all the way up to be 20 feet tall. They have a slight advantage though, because whenever they're born about 6 feet tall. They can spend about 16 hours or so a day eating, because they have a 4-chamber stomach, so it's constantly gnawing on something.
Like a cow.
Those tongues are going to be thick enough to withstand thorns and strong enough to rip those thorns right off of branches with no problem. And their tongues are blue as a form of sunscreen.
Can you get a picture back there? The 4 of them?
Now over on my left-hand side, to the right of the cave,
The dog.
you just saw someone perk their ears up. Those were going to be the painted dogs, also known as the African wild dogs. Go ahead and remain seated at all times. Thank you. And they're one of the world's most successful hunters because of their ability to formulate plans of attack. Over on my left-hand side, you're going to see the sable antelope. The sable antelope will get darker with their age, and the darkest will be the most male-dominant, but all decisions in the herd are made by a female. These tower-like structures that you see throughout the reserve are called termite mounds, and they are as hard as concrete. Over here we have where the male giraffes are. Now, since giraffes spend so long eating, they don't spend a lot of time sleeping. In fact, they only spend about 30 minutes or so a day asleep. They can sleep while standing up with their eyes open. And that's how they're able to avoid predators. Coming up on my right-hand side, these gray-looking animals are called white-bearded wildebeest, also known as gnus, G-N-U-S, because of the sound they make. They sound like they are newing. An average herd of white-bearded wildebeest can reach up to 1,000, and whenever they migrate, they meet up with other herds, increasing their numbers to around 1.5 million. Also on my right-hand side, kind of by the tree stump, you're going to see those light brown antelopes with the white underbellies. They're called springbok. They are fully grown at 3 feet tall, but they can jump double their height at 6 feet and 13 feet across.
Maybe not.
Just past these boulders, we're going to be approaching Monkey Point. And as the name suggests, we might see a monkey. But I do see an elephant coming up on the right-hand side. Let's follow around and get a better view of that beauty. But first I'm going to talk over on the left-hand side about the mandrills. Mandrills are the monkeys that reside here. And if they're actually facing us, they will have bright-colored faces. And those faces will get brighter with more excited they get. Mandrills, just like a human, will smile as a form of friendship. And over on the right-hand side, you can begin to see the African bull elephant. There's a different angle of him that I can pull around. He is a male, and you know he's a male because he's going to be all by himself. When an African bull elephant reaches full maturity, around the age of 13, he becomes quite aggressive. And the females won't appreciate that and won't put up with it, so they'll kick him out of the herd. He'll then live about 1 mile to 2 miles away from everybody else. So let's go see if the females have migrated over here yet. Like I said, they should be about 1 mile to 2 miles away. gonna go poly-poly over this bridge here, which means very slowly. It's an old bridge, so we don't want to fall in on us or anything. Definitely sounds like it's had better days. But, okay, Matata, no worries. Oh, it's fine. And we are all getting off. Okay. Anywho, I can tell elephants had recently been in this area because there were going to be test marks in this red clay. Elephants will eat the red clay as a form of minerals that aren't found in their everyday grass-based diet. And just be on the lookout over on the left-hand side, because that's usually where the herd likes to hang out. The herd usually doesn't make their way over here until about 10 o'clock, but that's okay. But just because you're not seeing the animals you don't want to see today does not mean that they're not here. This reserve is over 110 acres large, and the safari only goes through about 1/4 of it. Elephants are quite large creatures, and they require a lot of food to be kept happy. This actually caused a major problem for farmers in the area who were just trying to make a living off the land, because the elephants will come and wipe them clean of crops in a matter of seconds. So over in Animal Kingdom, they discovered that elephants do not like bees, and farmers then began to set up beehives around their crops to deter the elephants away. We are now approaching Flamingo Island, where the greater flamingo resides. They are the lightest pink, yet largest flamingo in the world. They actually hatch more of a grayish color, though, and it takes about 1 year to 2 years for them to be fully pink. They turn pink from the beta-carotene, which is a protein found in their shrimp-based diet. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance. Tigers are in Asia. And over on my left-hand side, you're going to see a crash. A crash is a group of rhinos. These are white rhinos. Let me just pull them around a little bit so maybe you can get a better look at them. And despite what the name may sound like, white rhinos are actually white. They're more of a grayish color. We believe the misconception comes from the Afrikaans word "white," which means wide. And they're called white rhinos because of their nose. It's going to be flat and wide versus the V shape of the black rhino. White rhinos also weigh around 5,000 pounds, which is 2,000 pounds more than their black rhino cousin. Oh, if you look over on my left-hand side, kind of against the fence in the back, you're going to see someone walking about. There's a cheetah back there. Let's see if we can kind of stop. Yeah, she's kind of in the shade there. Cheetahs are going to be the fastest land mammals, reaching speeds around 60 miles an hour in just under 3 seconds flat. But they can't hold that speed for long periods of time, only a couple of meters. Cheetahs like to domesticate. Oh, there's one by, closest to us as well. Cheetahs like the domesticated house cat can purr, but they cannot roar. They will make more of a chirping noise. This reddish rock formation in front of us is called a kopie. And kopies are home to larger cats like the lion. And over on my left-hand side, you can see the male lion up there. He's going to be the protector of the pride. And since he's the protector, he does need that mane. That mane protects him against other lions that try to challenge him, because when they bite his neck, all they get is a mouthful of hair. Further back, you could see that female. Oh, the two females, the sisters are out. The females are going to be the hunters of the pride. And since they are hunters, they will have padded paws that will make them almost silent when approaching their prey. Let's see if we can pull around and get a better view of them. There's an ostrich over on my right-hand side, but we're going to pull around, hopefully get a better view of them. Lions are nocturnal animals, so it's great to see them out and about right now. There's the lioness for y'all. They can spend around 20 hours or so a day at rest. Oh, the whole pride's there. This is your sister in the male roaming about back there. Coming up on my left-hand side, you're going to see the warthog. Warthogs are related to the domesticated pig and have razor-sharp tusks that helps protect them against predators. It's piglets, so protecting the piglets back there as they eat. And here's the male white rhino. Further back, kind of by that brush in the back, you're going to see an antelope with like chestnut hair. They're called Bontebok. They're related to the wildebeest, and out in the wild, the fur will turn a beautiful purple shade. The eggs on the ground are ostrich eggs. Each one weighs roughly about 3 pounds. And further back, kind of by this tree with a lot of vines, you're going to see somebody laying down. They're called waterbuck. I love the waterbuck. They have little heart-shaped noses. And they're one of the few animals that don't migrate because they need to stay close to the water source at all times. Their hair will secrete an oily substance that will make them almost water resistant. We are now going to be entering the glens. Let's see what we can find in here. On top of the hill on my left-hand side, you're going to see this beautiful scimitar horn oryx. He gets his name because his gorgeous horns. They look like scimitar swords, which is a Middle Eastern sword. Over on my right-hand side, these two large white birds are called yellow-billed storks. They are carnivorous birds, which means they will eat everything and anything. Back to the scimitar horn oryx. He's a desert animal. You can tell from his coat. And he can go the majority of his lifetime without drinking a single drop of water. All the liquid he needs is extracted from the plants he eats. Well, my friends, we are now approaching toward the end of our safari. But along the way, we got to see a lot of different animals. We got to see the pride of lions up and about, which is a rare sight. Got to see the crasher of rhinos, as well as the bloat-up hippos. But unfortunately, a lot of the animals here on the reserve are endangered, like the African elephant. So, if you want to try to help save them, I do highly suggest donating to Disney's Wildlife Conservation Fund. 100% of the proceeds will go toward protecting the animals. And here on the reserve, we do not like to say goodbye. It'll just be way too sad and way too final. And so we like to say, Kwaherini, which means go well. So Kwaherini, my friends. I found the sound, I think.